Welcome to The Other Side, Mississippi Today's political podcast. We hope you like this podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. I'm Jeff Pender with Mississippi Today, joined here today with our business and development reporter, Catherine Lynn.
Hey, Jeff.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
And it's okay if I call you Katie, which I'm going to do.
Yes, that's fine. I respond to both.
During this. And okay. We have a special guest today. We have Senator Bradford Blackmon. He is representing District 21, which includes all of Holmes County, parts of Attala, Leake, and Madison. And you have served there since 2024, correct?
That's correct.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me. I don't know how special I am, but I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Intro. Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on. And a little bit more background, practicing attorney here in this area, graduate of University of Pennsylvania.
Yes,
correct.
2011.
Where you were also a standout running back, as I recall.
Something like it. I could move back in the day.
Yeah, right. Graduate of Ole Miss Law School, correct?
Yes, back in 2014. Been practicing law for about 11 years now, covering all types of areas, and also I've been a public defender for a couple of years and a prosecutor for a couple of years, so try to cover all the different areas of law.
Okay. Well, again, we appreciate you coming on, and I guess we're kind of late in the legislative session. You had at least two bills this session that generated a lot of discussion. They made it through the session until just recently, along with many other things. They are dead, as they say in the legislature, if not dead.
Well, they say it's not over till it's dead.
Right.
I think I'm at two dead.
You're at two dead. But really, they generated a lot of discussion, I believe even some national news attention, but focusing on artificial intelligence, on AI. Maybe can you first off give us a little sketch of what your main two bills did?
Well, one of them, it was called the Mississippians' Right to Name, Image, and Voice Act. And what that bill did, it would give every Mississippian a property right in your name, image, and voice. And with how, I guess, advanced artificial intelligence is now, you can take a 3-second video of somebody and then make it basically do whatever you want it to do. And most people just want to be left alone. And this would give you at least some sort of legal remedy, at least on the civil side, if someone were to misuse your name, image, or voice without your consent. And the second one, it would have required, when you used artificial intelligence in political advertisement, to say so. You have to...
a disclaimer.
Yeah, you have to put a disclaimer, depending on if it was a video ad, the disclaimer had to be at the front and the end. If it's an audio ad, it had to be said at the beginning at least 3 seconds, so that you can't just say this is made with AI. And people miss that, as you kind of see with some infomercials for medicines, where it's at the end, they say it really, really fast, all the different side effects. Right. To try to avoid that, you have to clearly disclose it, because it's really hard when people see or hear something that's not real to convince them that what you just saw was not real, or what you just heard was not real, because they saw it or heard it. Right. And they automatically assume that must have been something that was true because I just saw it or I just heard it. So that was just a way to try to help with that, because deceiving voters is probably one of the worst things you can do if you want people to have the correct information, accurate information, and know that what they're seeing or hearing is in fact true.
You mentioned misuse of AI, and Katie, I know you've written about this and in writing about pertaining to Senator Blackmon's bills, but there has been some misuse even in Mississippi already.
Yeah,
correct?
There was a case, I don't remember the status of it right now, that a teacher had generated images of his students. And the technology has gotten really, really good. Even you introduced this bill 3 years ago, a
Yes.
version of this, and even in that time frame, the technology has so rapidly gotten better. Can you talk a little bit about why you kind of started this bill 3 years ago?
Well, Bobby Rush and his representatives reached out to me in December of 2023, and they told me that Tennessee was introducing legislation similar to this.
Okay.
And they passed it. They called it the Elvis Act. And I guess me being vice chair of the technology committee, that's what caused them to reach out to me. And also that Bobby has longstanding relationship with my parents, so that might also have had something to do with it. And I told him I'd look into it. And when I looked into it, it looked like something that Mississippi needed. And I told them, yes, I want to protect artists and entertainers because Mississippi has some of the best of them. But I want to protect all Mississippians. So I said, yes, I'll look into this, but I want to make sure that it covers everyone and not just those who make a living off their name, image, or voice.
Right.
And that's how I got into it. And I just mentioned before we got started my great-grandmother that lived through 3 centuries. And there's always been technological advances. So the thing she's seen, I imagine when the washing machine was first introduced, it was, hey, you're telling me I'm about to put this machine in my house. It's going to draw water in, electricity. No, I'll stick going down to the creek and washing my clothes. But back then, that first washing machine, it may have taken a year or two to get it fully where it needed to be, all the kinks ironed out. But with artificial intelligence and the way technology is, today something could come out and then a week later it can be 10 times more advanced than it was today. So that's kind of what scares people, is how quickly the technological advances are moving. And a problem with that in the legislature is we only meet 120 days for the first year of a 4-year term and then 90 days for the next 3. Those are the only times that we can pass laws. So if we don't get proactive with it, then we are behind the 8 ball for another 9 months where we can't do anything about it. And that's why I've been pushing so hard to get something on the books that'll protect as many people as possible. And then as we go forward, it's a lot easier to amend the law than it is to create one, as I've learned over the last few years. So I'm trying to get something on the books so that we'll have a framework that we can work on as we go forward and as these advances come.
You've gotten that main name, image, and likeness bill. You've gotten that passed by the full Senate 2 years now?
Yeah, twice now.
Yeah,
one, we were able to get it out of the committee, and then we ran into some headwinds because it being named name, image, they immediately thought it had something to do with college sports.
Yeah.
So the lawyers for the various colleges in Mississippi started trying to weigh in, and I had to tell them, hey, this has absolutely nothing to do with that. So we cleared that hurdle after year 1. And then year 2, we got it out. I had some pushback from the Motion Picture Association, and I believe that was the holdup last year. Between last year and this year, I talked with them, tried to work out whatever issues they had, and then we still ran into the same headwinds over in the House. So I haven't heard what the issue is from the House. I don't know if it's being caught in the bigger infighting or if not.
Right.
I just don't know.
The bigger infighting, of course, that could be it with most anything right now. But another thing you face, though, the federal government, the Trump administration, has tried to preempt state regulations on AI pretty much, right? So
yes.
they don't want the states regulating this. They're afraid that would hamstring the technology. But Katie, you talked with an expert who looked at Senator Blackmon's bill, who said he didn't think your bill would face that much blowback from the administration.
Yeah, because it doesn't go after like the models themselves. It's about protecting people more. And I think you and I had talked about this when the bill was still in the Senate.
Yes, we discussed that, and I believe I said then, as I'll say now, Mississippi, when it comes to passing laws, does not necessarily care what's going on in D.C.
Well, this is true.
In terms of the bills we pass. And I actually heard it said earlier during the session when there was argument about the constitutionality of another bill, and it was brought up, had Mississippi not passed its abortion ban when it was national law, we wouldn't be where we are now when it comes to abortion, because that was the law that kind of started the whole cascade of healthcare regulation. So, yes, I've seen the executive order that came down, and executive orders don't exactly have the force that I believe presidents probably want them to have, because it generally just says we'll enforce existing law, or I want this to happen. It's not an actual law. So while there is an executive order on it, it doesn't really affect what laws go into place. Now, had they been able to get in the law that they wanted, it may have been the big, beautiful bill or whichever bill they were trying to put it in. It said a 10-year moratorium on AI legislation. Thankfully, that didn't go through. But even if it had, I still would have been bringing this legislation because, as I just mentioned, Mississippi tends to march to its own drummer.
Right. Look, I'm sure both of you are light years more advanced than me with technology. That's not saying much even. But where is this headed? You mentioned, and Katie mentioned it too, people are a little worried, all this data being gathered. We've already seen it being used for years now. You know, you mention something and suddenly you get ads for it on your phone. I mean, that's a loaded question, but where do you think this is headed? How quickly do you think we'll see?
Extremely quickly, because, like I said, if something gets created today, next week it'll be 10 times as advanced as it was today. I think we have to just start educating people on artificial intelligence because it's not going anywhere. It's around. It's going to be here to stay, and it's only going to get better and more integrated into our society. So you don't want to be too far behind when it comes to artificial intelligence and how to use it. But everybody's worried about it replacing people. I think it'll help enhance some of the work that people do as long as you're educated about it and as long as you aren't necessarily scared of it or afraid of it. And I get why, but everybody that has an iPhone clicks accept user agreement without reading the 2,000 pages in the user agreement. So our data's already out there. We've already provided to so many different people. Facebook, anytime you log on to basically into any website, it has click accept terms and conditions. And even as a lawyer, I don't read the terms and conditions. I just say, okay, we'll accept it and see what it does.
Right. And speaking of which, I know, Katie, you've written a lot about this. There appear to be planning to build a data center on every corner
in Mississippi,
including in your district, correct?
Well, technically, it's right outside of my district. Right, Senator Joseph Thomas has that part of Canton, but everybody, since it's just Canton and that's where I'm from, that's where I live, people just assume.
They come to you with it, okay.
They have. But I just saw, I think it was in Clinton, there's a data center coming. And anytime you ask the residents, they don't want it. It tends to come from us politicians or those people who are elected officials who come to these sort of deals on the data center. And I can understand the trepidation by the people that live around it. Because I've heard from a lot that up in Canton where as they're building it, there's massive amounts of dust and dirt and noise that just keeps coming around, and they don't know what it's going to do to the electricity, to the water around the area. I think I just saw that there was Energy just put out there's some deal that these companies are saying that they're going to offset the energy charges. I believe that when it happens. Press releases are nice. You need to see that in action before you can fully just say, "Oh, they're doing a great job. They're going to take care of that." I need to see that they're actually taking care of it before I believe that, because I know that it takes massive amounts of energy. It takes massive amounts of water to keep those data centers cool, and it's only going to take more and more energy, more and more water, and hopefully energy production and advancements can match those advancements in technology where it'll cost less and there's more energy production and the type of, I guess, energy facilities match, upgrade, as well as as many data centers as you get, because they are all over Mississippi and keep coming.
Yeah, I think kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, in addition to the environmental concerns, I think people are really concerned about what these data centers are being used for in terms of like AI. And I think that I was reading a report this morning about how, like, even back when you first started on this bill in 2023, there were incidents where high school students are using it to create images of their classmates in bullying or other things. And I think it goes to some of the worries about this technology.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really trying to get a law on the books that will give people second thoughts when they say, "Hey, I want to make this image. Oh, it might cost me some money, minimum of $5,000. Maybe I shouldn't do this." And it'll take that first test case where if we have this law on the books, somebody does it and then they get hit, and that makes other people, whoa, maybe I shouldn't do this. Because all of our laws that either civilly punish or criminally punish, they're deterrents. Just because we pass a law doesn't mean it's going to stop people from doing whatever they choose to do. But we hope that when you have something on the books, it makes you think twice. And that's the hope, because like I said, most people just want to be left alone. Like, as a politician, I signed up for this. I signed up to be in the public eye. The person just going to class at Ole Miss, they just want to go to class. They don't want to go to class and then see people, "Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?" "Oh, because you saw this fake video of me going around last night." They just want to be left alone.
Yeah. There's already 2 laws on the books that kind of deal with AI in Mississippi. One is, do you remember what they are? There's one about child exploitation.
Yeah.
It kind of puts deepfakes in that. And the other one has to do with political ads a little bit, but I think it's different from the one you wrote this year.
I'm familiar with the one about deepfakes, and I think that's great. We definitely need to have that on the books, but that it just goes straight to child exploitation and no specific acts.
And I think they were passed when the technology was kind of,
Yeah.
well, the technology is burgeoning.
Yeah,
so.
it was passed when it what it was a few years ago, and it just gets so much better
Almost
day
daily,
by
right.
day by day. But I'm not as familiar with the political one, because when you don't have staff, you kind of have to pick and choose where you're going to focus on. And when I was appointed vice chair of technology, I said technology is going to be an area that I'm going to try to focus on, since it's been put on my plate. And you just kind of have to pick and choose what you want to focus on, because if you try to pretend that you're knowledgeable in every single subject, then it's not going to go well, both for you and your constituents. I mean, we have people down there that try to think they know everything about everything.
There are a few.
But it just
we
it
don't
doesn't
have enough time to
you're
name
right.
them, I don't think.
It doesn't work that way. But the way I kind of look at the legislature is we're kind of the board of directors of a multi-billion-dollar company, and unlike regular companies that focus on this area or that area, we have to cover every single area across the entire state. And you just have to focus and then try to find experts in the other areas that you aren't knowledgeable on, or else you can end up voting on law that you don't support because you're just not as informed as you thought you were, or you say, I thought this meant that. Well, you have the resources to reach out to people, because we may not have staff, but I haven't had anyone that's not taken my call when I say, hey, I'm Senator Blackmon. Here's this piece of legislation. Tell me how it affects your field. Because I'm not an architect. If we have bills that deal with architecture, I need to go talk to somebody that deals with that area. Same thing with real estate, healthcare, and things of that nature. Because I'm a lawyer. I know how to look at the law and apply it to whatever situation it needs to be applied to. But when it comes to education reform, that's not my area of expertise. I need to go talk to teachers, superintendents, and parents that deal with it on the day-to-day.
Sure. Well, it should be noted, as you said, maybe the bill is dead. Bills are dead at this point. But again, you got it through the Senate. Appeared to have bipartisan support.
It did, because that was something that I tried to change between last year when it just made it through the Senate and died in the House, and this year. I went to a few of my Republican colleagues, Senator Delano, Senator England, and Senator Sparks. Since I knew that they supported the legislation, I asked if they would be willing to be co-sponsors, which they did. So I was hoping that when it went to the House this go-round, when they read the title sponsors, they could see that, hey, this is a bipartisan bill. This is something that's supported widely, but it still died.
And if it's not in the cards for this session, I would assume you're going to continue with this effort, because as you mentioned, this technology is here and going to.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to bring the bill back. I'm going to think of a different strategy again, because I had Bobby Rush come in at the beginning of the session this year. We had the press conference, sent him over to the House. Tried to work
harmonica on the floor.
Tried to work
you know, what else can you do?
Yeah, so I'm gonna see if we can get some others, because Steve Azar, he really supports it, but he was traveling and on tour, so he wasn't able to come in this go round. But we're gonna see if we can kind of set it up for, I guess, a bigger press conference, or try to meet with some people over the summer and into the fall and winter before next session, to just kind of see what the opposition is and see if it did get caught up in other infighting, or if there was actual opposition or something that they had a concern with, and see if we can work that out prior to getting into session.
Sure.
So we can see if we can get across the finish line into the governor's desk.
Okay.
Next go around.
And we would certainly like to talk with you further about this. So
yeah,
we'll try to keep that in mind and get you back on to discuss it further, and we really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. This podcast was not created with AI.
Are you
sure? Are we positive?
We haven't seen the final yet.
How do they know this is us talking right now?
That's a good point. It's a very good
I
point.
don't have an extra finger.
They've made it past that.
They're
past.
Right? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You used to be able to tell.
I told you I'm behind. I'll defer to y'all on technology. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.